Tommy Garrett. I'm here with Darren Murphy, the author of 8 Keys to Connecting. Darren, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tommy, for doing the interview. First, before we start this interview, I would like to say to all that are watching, I want to thank, and this is unsolicited, Seth Godin and his Purple Cow for all that you will see from now on this interview and all the ones to follow. Tommy, did you get to read my book?
Yes, I did. Enjoyed it immensely. Darren, how would you sum up your book in one sentence?
Oh, wow, because I've got 8 keys in there, and I know you're asking not for me to elaborate on any one key. I believe, to sum it up in one sentence, the meaning of your communication is the response that you get back. If you start off with any communication with anybody, with that idea, then you have taken full responsibility for that conversation and the effects of that conversation. So it does away with, I didn't mean for that. I didn't mean for them to take it that way, or I didn't intend for him or her to respond that way. The meaning of your communication is the response you get back. Yes, that's one sentence that would sum up my book.
Darren, I really like the 4 universal personalities chapter. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, I always say that interpersonal communication is an art based on science. And what I mean by science is Aristotle is the first one that outlined the 4 universal personality styles. And it hasn't really much changed since then. Dr. Timothy Leary elaborated on it more, but the person that I studied under, Dr. Tony Alessandra, he's the one that really put it in the form of for business or for relationship building. The 4 universal personality styles are the director, the relator, the socializer, and the thinker. And they're on a very specific quadrant because a director-type personality is exactly opposite of a relator-type personality. Meaning, the director, she or he, is very concerned about the bottom line. That's all that matters. Whereas a relator-type personality, they're concerned with everyone's needs being met. And when you have those 2 personalities come together and they don't understand how the other one sees the world, you get that phenomenon called oil and water. And they look at the other person and say, what planet are you from? This is the 4 universal personality styles. And when you study that chapter and then start looking at people and saying, what's their dominant style? Then you're able to communicate to that person in the style that they feel most comfortable with.
What will the reader take from reading your book?
The reader, after reading my book, will be able to know first the most important person that you are talking with every single day, every single minute, is yourself. Because the way in what you're saying to yourself colors your whole view of the world, which greatly influences how you're going to talk to other people. So that's the first thing they're going to take away. They are going to be aware of their self-talk. And self-talk is often something that's very much repetition, cliches, rubber stamped, foregone conclusions that sometimes more than sometimes, aren't initially right. So that's the first thing they're going to take away. Then they're going to take away the importance of the impact of their communication. How a person sees you. Then they're going to really listen to how your voice is sounding. And then finally, they start taking into account the actual content. So the impact of your communication, first off, has to do with how you're appearing to that person. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you bored? All of that greatly colors it. And I put it behind the science of Dr. Albert Mehrabian, who was an engineer first, and then he got his PhD in psychology, and then he started applying data-driven device of collecting information. What impacts a person? How do people remember you? And the 55% of that memory is on the visual, how a person appears to that person. 38%, these are Dr. Albert Mehrabian's numbers, is on how your voice sounds. Does it sound monotone, or does it sound bored? It even affects your physical appearance, or the sound. And then finally, 7% is in the actual content of what you're saying.
So Darren, the shy communicator will benefit from this book.
Absolutely, the shy. I just came back. I was in the Ukraine this past March. I was invited to an international medical school. The doctors that had just graduated had asked for a workshop on how to give bad news to patients and their family. So I had a number of months to prepare because I had 150 doctors to talk to, and I only had 90 minutes, and they were in groups of 15. So I had to do workshop style teaching. So I did a little lecture, but then we did skills practice, because skills practice without actually putting things to work, where's your knowledge go? It doesn't go anywhere. I did that training and got rave reviews, but there was one particular doctor, happened to be male, and he happened to be from India. And he came up to me after the class and he said, I am very shy. My parents tell me, my friends tell me, I just am very, very shy. And he said, would you coach me? And I really didn't have the time to coach him, but I did say this. I said, there's this specific chapter that addresses the 6 honest serving men. Who, what, where, how, when, and why. Make that part of your talking to anybody. So when you meet someone for the first time, you ask them, hi, my name is Kamal, and you are, and then you get the response, and where are you from? And what do you do? And how long have you done that? And why did you get into that profession? You make it all about them. You forget yourself. Oh, and by the way, this hat, thank you, Seth Godin, and Purple Cow. You forget all about that, yourself, and you put it on them. And something really magical happens. Here's the magic. When you make a conversation all about the other person, a thing called psychological reciprocity happens. That person, when they see that you're sincerely interested in wanting to know all about them, they in turn want to know all about you. And that is when relationships build.
Did you get those glasses from Janis Joplin?
They're John Lennon glasses.
I had to
My
ask
hero.
Yeah.
And by the way, what's this tell you about the 55%? People are, what is he going to put on next? Thank you, Seth Godin, once again.
Why the rose-colored? I don't recall John Lennon wearing rose-colored glasses.
Are these better?
Those are much better, much better.
Okay, we'll keep these on.
Have you received feedback on the empathy training? Do you have any results of the benefits that the participants received?
Regards the empathy training, that was the title of the workshop that I created for the International Medical School in Ukraine. I know this, when I was at the airport getting ready to fly back to America, the doctor over there, Dr. Emmanuel, who had set up this whole program, got in touch, called the doctor from America, Dr. Gary Jerkins, over, and me, and he got a little huddle and he said, I want you to know that all the doctors that took the empathy training course that you had designed, he was talking to me, every single one of them said that you needed to come back because future doctors graduating needed this course. And I really did base it all on science. I used Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I used many of the keys from the communication code of conduct, the different personality styles, and how to not take offense when someone's style is totally opposite yours. The fact, I really stress this, and I stress this in all my workshops, the fact that the more stressful, or a person sick, tired, angry, afraid, stressed to the max, the more deeper they go into their personality style, and they feel safer there. For example, a director would go even deeper into trying to control a situation the more stressed she or he is in whatever situation you're in. So when you're in high stress, healthcare, or during any legal proceedings, keep in mind that the personality style that that person is exhibiting is their safety zone, their feel, okay, everything's going to work out. And it might be opposite of yours.
Will your book benefit managers only, or will it benefit the average employee?
It will benefit managers, but you can get a manager that's a really excellent communicator, and he or she will be able to effectively create an atmosphere of relationship building. Imagine if all your staff were on a trajectory to become a great communicator. And then it builds on itself and becomes exponential in its effect. And it carries over when your staff is dealing with vendors that might have something to do with your company, customers, each other, or a new staff person just coming on, to be made genuinely felt, to be welcomed, to be part of the team.
Darren, what is your goal by presenting this book to the people who want to get more out of communicating?
Tommy, you know, there's no greater feeling for me, and it's different for other people, than to give something, a skill or a strategy to another person, that all of a sudden they take that skill and strategy and it opens up doors and gives them options and opportunities they never believed possible for them personally. And that also creates something else. When they start getting what they want, then they start making sure that other people are getting what they want. One of my mentors, Zig Ziglar, I'm talking my age now, but he was a great one. Zig Ziglar, he had a saying, if you make sure enough other people get what they want, you will definitely get what you want. And that's always stuck with me. My goal is to give as many people the skills and strategies of excellent communication. And it's sorely needed in our world today, which is getting smaller, but we as individuals are becoming more divided.
Darren, I noticed in the closing area of your book that you give several tips on things. One example is your tip on voicemail addressing.
Well, we do live in a world of electronic social media, and we're so busy, we're either talking to someone on another line or we're in a meeting, those never-ending meetings. And the voicemail is when you go away on vacation. You need to let that person know that you will not be receiving phone calls until such and such a date. See, what has happened with social media is people expect when they leave a message, they should be getting a call back within 24 hours. And you need to leave that information on your outgoing message that you won't be available, or your assistant you need to contact through this extension if it's an emergency or you need to get back as soon as possible. Think about the other person and what their needs are, and then fulfill them in the outgoing message. Another thing with voicemail is tell them, if you are in the office, that it might be a few days before you get back with them, because you might be doing inventory, or you might be meeting with people over the next few days, meetings that you can't get out of, and so it will take a longer time. Think of that other person and their expectations, and then when you address them, your communication will continue to be smooth, and you are fostering relationship.
Darren, thank you for being here. Do you have any closing remarks?
First off, thank you so much for having me. Closing remarks, all the props that I used, I have Seth Godin and his Purple Cow to thank. Great book. Those of you starting a business or thinking about going into business, much needed book to read. This is unsolicited. And thanks to the Halloween store at Rivergate on Myatt Drive for having these wonderful props, and the manager there who got so excited when I told her why we were doing it. And go to my website, DarrenMurphySeminars.com. That's DarrenMurphy, seminars, all lowercase, no spaces. And thanks again for watching. I appreciate it.